Application design, I'm going to talk about the assignment 2 interior book design, and specifically on B, the typeface exploration. So we'll kind of do a little critique. We'll run through everyone's designs, we hope. And I'm going to start over here. Oops. We have to refresh this. Okay. So we have Garamond and Baskerville. Let's see. Gowdy, Old Style, and Oswald, and Salfian. I'm not familiar with that one, nor am I familiar with Oswald, but the Gowdy, Old Style, Baskerville, Old Face, and Garamond I am. So what do we have on these? There's no real research written on here. I feel like it's a very academic type of paper. If memory serves anyway. So we're going to zoom in and take a look. So Garamond is, I think created in the, I was going to say 1500s, it might be 1700s actually. And then Baskerville came, they're both English type designers. Baskerville came a little bit later in the late 1700s. A little bit sharper serifs, meaning you don't want to take this one as small because maybe some of those narrow bits of the type will drop off. They'll fade away. So this is 11/16. Ideally you want to print it out and take a look at it and see if it's how it reads and how it. So basically, just do a read through to see if it's easy to read. You would want to look close to see if these narrow bits drop off, but so far either one is a very solid typeface. Baskerville's so old. Well, let me think. Is it Gowdy or Baskerville? I mean, sorry, Garamond or Baskerville? I'm not going to say. Anyway, I thought I had a little significant thing to share, but I don't. Gowdy, as we can tell on this, they're both set in 11 point, all set in 11 point. But Gowdy's lowercase, or their X height, which they call the lowercase height, is much larger than like Garamond's. And yeah, so Garamond, it's a little bit smaller, more compact, kind of solid, which is no issue at all, really. I mean, all of them are built on this very calligraphic foundation, very humanist, right? So in fact, I'm just going to do this once, and I won't do it constantly, but we want to also look at the stress of the O, which is kind of interesting. So when I say the stress, it means where is the thick parts and the thin parts. If the thinnest parts of the O are up and down, it feels a little more bold or modern or confident. Could be a little clinical and cold. If the stress of the O is at an angle, which this Gowdy Old Style is, it's at a slight angle, maybe I don't know, 20 degrees, something like that, then it has a little more of a warm or friendly or inviting feel. I'm going to roll up to, we'll look at Garamond and see. I think the stress is also at a diagonal, but it's a little more upright. So it is at a slight angle, but it's much more upright. So it feels a lot more like impersonal, which may be a good thing. I don't know for this particular text. Baskerville, almost absolutely straight up and down. Go a little bit closer and take a good look at it. Yeah, so Baskerville feels very bold, modern, more confident, and less warm and friendly and inviting. So, I mean, just because this is an educational text, what what's it talking about? Does it need to be warm? Does it need to be friendly? Okay. This Oswald, I mean, it's a very, even more clinical, more removed, less humanistic, right? Much more of a modern typeface. I think this is a little, honestly, for me, too bold for, and too condensed for a body copy. Because when you get it down to a readable size, it's just, it becomes difficult to read. Where, like, say, old Gaudi is still really easy to read, and then this one just feels heavy and weighty and not terribly inviting. Now this one I don't have much experience with. Let's see. Just looking at it, it's a very dense typeface. There's a lot of blacks to it, so even the thins on, like, say, the Garamond or the Baskerville, these are pretty thick and chunky. That's not bad, I'm just making an observation. The O has a very slight stress to it, so the stress is more at an angle. Yeah, this is a nice typeface. It's more modern than the other three, Garamond, Bodoni, or Gaudi Old Style. It's more dense, more modern. So another thing to kind of look for is the length of the serifs and, I'm sorry, the length of the ascenders and the length of the descenders. Ascenders are things, letters that go above the X height. The X height is here. And descenders are the parts of the letter or the letter itself, but the part is specifically that goes below the baseline. So this is a descender. And as a general rule, the longer the descenders, the more elegant, the more personality of the typeface, more open, more feminine. And the shorter, the more, what would we call it? Sable, heavy, I guess a little more business-like too. I mean, if we were to look at, and all of these are pretty, I mean, this has a long ascender, but a short descender. And this Gaudi Old Style. Garamond, super traditional, short and to the point, or ascender, descenders. And same with, I mean, they're all very similar, these three at the beginning. Sylphian just feels a bit more modern to me, and a little bit darker. So it has a little bit darker feel than definitely this one, right? See how light that is? And then this one just has like if you squint at it, this has a darker tone to it than the Gaudi Old, and you know, or the Garamond as well. Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to really talk about, but some things to look for. So make a determination on how things look. It's, I mean, if you want to use just one typeface, so this might be your headline as well, if there's enough in your type family. How do the letters look up close? Is it something that looks ridiculous? It looks great as a body, but doesn't look really good as a large. I think it looks okay large. It's really chunky serifs, so I think it's more of a body type, and I might use something different as a headline, like a display type. Okay, I'm not going to spend that long on each one, but I think it's kind of good to give us a basic overview. Okay, so Book Antigua, Constantia, Times New Roman, Palatino, and Georgia. Okay, so here's a bunch of sans serifs, a little bit darker, obviously, right? And for me, as far as this darker lightness, you're going to have to like lay out the page or lay out a page and step back and take a look at it, because the dark isn't bad, but it's just going into it, you just have to know that you're going darker now, which this is the Times New Roman. So this is terribly traditional. I mean, it's been used so much. But it's a good baseline, right? So you're like, against Times New Roman, this is darker, has a larger X height, so larger capitals, maybe a little more easily read. This looks a little more modern. This one looks similar, but some a little bit longer serifs, I think, on this. What is this again? Book Antiqua. Yeah, and also a little bit easier to be read. And then these two, Palatino and Georgia. Palatino always has like a very large X height, so it's really easily read at smaller sizes, which is helpful. This feels really dense. Look how close together these things are, and when you squint, you get a really compact feel here. With Georgia, I'm not a huge fan of Georgia, but it's, I mean, no problem, and you can still use it. It's actually a really nice typeface. I mean, I really tend to favor a Palatino just because the serifs looks just so much more elegant to me, and this looks pretty heavy and thick. However, the heavy and thick work great for small legibility, and if you're going too small with the Garamond, the narrows can fade away. So just some things to be aware of. Nice, I think these are good explorations. So good job on everyone. I'm just going to refresh a couple of these. So now I can go back and look at them. Okay, so we have some really good contenders for sans serif here. Verdana, Malgan Gothic, and Myanmar text. I actually think these are really nice. So if you see a knife, right? If you look at a knife, someone pulls out a knife and goes, "Hey, what do you think of this knife?" Because of that sharp, pointy thing, you kind of step back a little bit. You just in general, you go, "Oh." And I think generally that can happen in some degree with typefaces if they're large, right? If they're pointy, they kind of make you slightly wary. This one is all blocked off. See all the A's and the tops of the M's. Looking for the V's, yeah, they're blocked off as well. So this is really a very safe feeling typeface. I think it might be a little heavy. I wonder if there's a thinner version, but maybe not. If we look close at this one, very similar. Let's see, and this one's also very similar. I do like the double story A's. I think those are very nice. And what I mean by that is this curve with this bowl here. This one has a great shaped, for me, a really well proportioned A. And this one also is a decently proportioned A. So, and then the question on all of these is, what is the feel you get from them? What is the the characteristics? So this is a nice one. It's more modern than what we've seen with Garamond. It does have this nice little sharp finial that comes down, and the A's are not even as curved as our sans serifs. So it's really blunted and not decorative on these. But one thing to do, I mean, if you have anything that has like a lion with teeth, a close-up of that, this typeface might be really interesting with that. Like maybe on the opposite side you have a picture of a lion with teeth, these pointing teeth, and then your typeface has little things that stick down like this. You can see on the F and the R and the C. it could be a very nice match and kind of complement it in some way. So it's good to just pay attention to those very little things. It's also good to kind of look at, I mean, well, let's go back here to look at our O's. And if you have any that are a lot more circular than others, like that one's pretty circular. Yeah, this is a little more oval. This one's quite a bit of a simple circle. And this one's a little slightly more oval. So whatever this middle one was, I can't remember. Anyway, it's just has an openness, a more modern feel to it. So this, I'm going to run to the bottom. This is Bookman. Okay. So this is a very traditional style, very old. So, you know, if your design is going to be very new and modern, it might be interesting to contrast your old type with your new design and layout and color choices. Or if you want to do a very traditional type layout with maybe more traditional like typesetting and grid, it might be interesting to stick with everything traditional, right? So you can play around with it and see. I mean, all these little decisions do make a difference. And I'm going to go a little faster now because I think we've kind of belabored maybe a few points. So we're looking at lightness and darkness. This has a really modern feel, obviously, a lot more, I don't know, like soft or feminine type on this one. Although look at, I mean, this has a lot of little extra flourishes, and so it has a feel of that as well. This one feels really modern here, which is nice. It's very readable. In an academic light, and this one feels very, I don't know, just sometimes you get a vanilla typeface, and this feels kind of vanilla. It just kind of says, hey, this is, just read the type. I'm not going to say anything extra. The ascenders are short, descenders are short, and it just gets to the point. So that's interesting too. Let's take a look at these. Let's see. So Caslon, very, very traditional. In fact, the Declaration of Independence was set in Caslon. Zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so there's a thing of readability with the X height. There's quality of the type. This one feels a little more modern to me. And this one much more traditional. This one very readable, but a bit more modern, just because of the shape of the letters, the squaredness, and it's kind of interesting. What is that one? Benton. Okay. I don't want to keep dragging this on, but let me. Oh yeah, these are really nice options here. I like the idea of playing with the sans serif. It's pretty nice. This is lovely. What is that? Railway. Wow. Yeah, there's some nice new ones. Hopefully you can access a lot of these from the Adobe Typeface. Be able to download and use it. Let's see. Can I zoom in here? Oops. Baskerville talked about that. This one I probably wouldn't, just because of the very heavy emphasis, the downstrokes. This one is pretty nice. Okay, so let's see. We have to So, okay, so here's one thing. Although the 9-point face looks nice on the computer, it's extremely helpful to print out. It's so hard to tell how typeface looks. The computer really makes type legible at smaller sizes. So please, before you dive into something very small like a 9-point, lay out a page, print it out, and see how it'll work. It's hard to know like this. This is to me, very much too thick for a typeface. Maybe this is okay for a pull quote or for a lead-in paragraph, but not as your main body. Looks like the whole thing is set in that. I would really advise against that, honestly. Looks like it's one typeface. Baskerville, yeah, this might be Baskerville, but it's like bold. I would go with just a normal or a light or something like that. Let me refresh a few of these so I don't get stuck. Okay. Okay, so I have seen that. Okay, here we go. You know, I mean, these are good things to look at. Good suggestions. Good exploration. Please just go by my. I mean, sans serif is traditional, and sometimes it's warm and friendly. Has like a calligraphic feel, like it was done by hand. It's a very close relation to this, and this has a little more machine feel. This feels modern. This feels traditional. I'm going to really encourage you guys to print it out and just see for yourselves about what works. What is the right size for you? You've read enough books where you know if something is too small. No on that one. This one's pretty nice. Yeah, that's okay. It's very modern looking. This is nice too, although I feel like it's maybe a little too small. Pretty bold, and this is nice, although I think it feels kind of modern, but there's no real harm in that. Again, if you're going to use 2 typefaces for your whole book, once you pick one, find another one that complements it. And I could talk about finding a typeface that complements in another lecture. Let me try to find the. Here we go. I probably would steer you away from Times. This has a nice airy look. It might be because of the leading compared to this one, but it has a nice airy feel. I like this one a lot. What is that? Adobe Song. That's nice. One thing about this one here, it has. I mean, you can almost feel if you were drawing this with a pen, the turn of the. It's so thick that you'd feel the turn of the pen. You know, as you hold the pen in one direction, as you turn corners, it kind of goes thick, thin, thick, thin. And this has a really like ribbon quality to it, which is nice. Good job, you guys. These are like seriously good explorations. I probably wouldn't put the border around them. I think that's pretty distracting. Probably knock that one out right off the top. Bodoni. Oh, so Bodoni's interesting. I mean, it is it has some very thick downstrokes, which is okay, but also the narrow parts are very thin. So when you get down to a small size, they can drop out if you're not careful. This is nice, very traditional. This one's really nice here. I don't know what that is. Oh, Minion, yeah. Minion's really nice typeface. There's a reason why they put that as a default on the Mac. Yeah, to me this one is a little too. You could choose it, but it's a little too much. Too, hey, look at me. It's not a traditional. I'm not crazy about the spacing. See how big these gaps are in here? I mean, that's giant right there. Did you change the leading or the tracking on this? I thought you may have. Okay, all right. Those are good explorations. Let's see. Okay, good. Let's take a look. Probably not this one. It's just, is it a Bedoni? Oh, it's a modern. Yeah, they work great as a headline, like headlines or titles of articles or titles of chapters, but not as body type. So then the trick is to find something that complements this if you want to use it. Right? This one's nice. What is that? Baskerville. Okay. It's Baskervilles. There's so many people that manufacture Baskerville now. Adobe, ITC, different font houses. So there's some little slight differences. That's why I'm always like, oh, it looks like a new one. Oh, it's Baskerville. Yeah, this is nice. So is that actually. That's okay. These are, you guys, nice work here. This is great. This is just what we're after. So we have Bookman, Perpetua, Garamond, Mongolian, Palatino, and Adobe Hebrew. Huh. This Mongolian interests me. It has a nice dense, which can be very nice. Perpetua, Bookman old style feels a little clunky, doesn't it? Compared to like Garamond or even this Mongolian. And Palatino, obviously, that's really a good choice for many things. Let's see if we can find the typeface. Oh, good. Okay, Book Antigua and Contenders. Thank you. I like some of the research that hopefully everyone has done. Alternative to Palatino, drawn letters from the Italian Renaissance. Enough calligraphic flavor to recall Palatino. Okay, I do like that one. That's very nice. I love this research. Well done on this. Who is this again? Isabel, nice job. Garamond, good. Yeah, one of the most attractive and graceful in print, Garamond, absolutely. Very, very nice. And yeah, serious but friendly. And this is a good, I mean, this is kind of that vanilla typeface where it's like, I can be friendly, but I can be serious at the same time, right? I can do both. I can get, you know, I have different faces. It's like vanilla ice cream. You could put different stuff with it, and it just works with a lot of stuff. So nice. Okay, everyone. Good luck on picking these typefaces. I think we might want to talk about pairing it with another typeface. I think I'll do one and put a little video out on some points about pairing typefaces. Anyway, nice work on this one. Thanks.